Hello all. As Roy already mentioned, this event is going to be recorded and will be available for viewing and sharing after the event. I'm John Hergedijk, National Managers Community Lead for BC and the Yukon. I am here on behalf of Camille Beausoleil, the Executive Director of the National Managers Community. So I recognize we all work in different places and therefore you work on a different traditional Indigenous territory. I would encourage you to take a moment and reflect on this fact. For myself, I'm proud to live and work within the territory of the Stolo Nation. Identify as a man and my pronouns are he, him. I'm very happy to work with the community that supports public service managers across Canada, and this is something I'm really passionate about. Thank you for joining us today for Leading in a Digital World, Strategies for Modern Managers with Roy Mader. For those of you who are new to the National Managers community, it's a horizontal network created in 2000 to support public service managers as they deliver thousands of government programs and services, oversee human resources management, and strive to achieve excellence in the public service. So part of our mandate's to help managers and aspiring managers connect, which we'll do in a variety of different in-person events across Canada and virtual events such as this one. Please make sure to check out our webpage and subscribe to our monthly newsletter and look at the website to see what we have to offer. So we hear from managers, and we've already kind of dived in a little bit about data and new technology, artificial intelligence. This is at the top of your mind in our daily work lives. As leaders, these changes can often seem overwhelming and they happen at an incredibly fast pace. So we have this opportunity today to hear from Roy and other speakers who are sharing strategies and resources to help you better navigate the digital landscape as we face as public service managers. So I'm happy to introduce to you Roy Nader. Roy is a seasoned change leader. He has curated and executed numerous successful national initiatives to help large organizational priorities, engaging thousands of participants. You may have heard of Clicks and Tips community of practice, which helps inspire the GC employees from 93 departments to embrace digital work culture. He's journeyed through various departments, big and small. Roy is dedicated to inspire and empower organizational-wide digital culture change, to lead initiative strategies and programs to make digital culture change happen. Roy, over to you.
Thank you so much, John. It's really a pleasure to be here among my peers and national managers, as well as the national managers community. I am pleased to be here with you on the West Coast to bring us together on the topic of digital leadership, a subject near and dear to my heart. I'm wearing a blue shirt, I have black hair and an olive skin. I've been involved in a digital culture and grew a passion for sharing strategies for leading in a digital environment and digital world since 2011. Some of you may have heard of Clicks and Tips, but I've developed my own technique for change management and I've used them successfully in a small, medium, or large organization. My true journey was a story about my grandfather that started where I was challenged to get him to use computer. He was over 80 and he promised he would never use computers in his life. I used nudging techniques and within a week, he actually was hooked to actually using the computer and was able to do it on his own. And from there, I started developing more and more technique on how do we truly inspire the masses to want to change. And today, this is one of the sessions we're looking at with the hope that inspire you to look at things in a different way. So you and your team is aware of what's coming down the right in 2 years and how you can hedge for it and be prepared. I look forward to sharing today what drives my passion in igniting that passion in you to ensure that we are all collectively equipped and lead in a digital world. With that, I'm just going to share my slides with you. There's a packed session with tons of information. Just want to let you know that you don't have to take any notes. There'll be an email that will be sent to you at the end of the session. The PowerPoint also and the links on them will be shared with you. This really session is designed for you to help you and equip you. I would consider that this session is successful, and in a moment, I'm going to ask you to go to Slido. So if you don't mind, please pick up your mobile, or you can go on a website and go on the link slido.com digital culture. In this session, I invite you to have fun. Use the chat to comment on what you like, what you don't like. Let's have a discussion. Use a Q&A. There's a Q&A on the top where you can actually ask questions, and we have people in the back end that will answer your questions. You can also share some of your thoughts, some of the strategies you've used. We're here to learn from each other and participate. This helps with the muscle memory. So when you leave this session, you remember some of the information that we have. I'll consider that this session is successful if you can pick up 2 new things that you can apply right after this session, while you're having fun, of course, at the same time. Great. Coming back to our Slido, I see quite a bit of people have joined already. So please take your mobile or the website, go to slido.com, #digital culture. Again, slido.com, #digital culture. This is a competition, and the person that get the right answer at the fastest time will win. There are 3 questions in total. Let's see who's going to be the person that's going to get the right answer. Okay, let's move on to slide over here. Right, I see the names are coming in, and you don't have to choose your name. You can choose anything you want, from Superman to Apple to oranges. As long as professional, you can put any name you want. So I'm going to start ahead. I'm going to ask you to be ready with your cell phone. Make sure it doesn't lock so you'll be able to get to the answer as fast as possible. Perfect. The numbers are still coming. I'm going to start in 3, 2, or should we wait till it's 250 people? All right, we have hit the mark. We're good to go. So slido.com, digital culture. Let's jump in. 3 questions in total. First question. In what year will flying cars be commercially available? Right? Is it 2025, 2030, 2035, or 2040? Again, in what year will flying cars be commercially available? Is it 2025, 2030, 2035, or are we looking at 2040? So we have a few more seconds left, and we've got few more people that are answering. In what year will flying cars be commercially available? Soon, short term, or long term? That's what we're looking for at the end of the day. So 18 more seconds to answer question number 1. All right, you're doing great. You're going solid. Let's see what people have answered so far. So majority of you are saying 2040. Second best is 2035. So flying cars seems to be on the long-term horizon. And let's see what the answer is. So the correct answer is 2025. That's right. That's actually, we're looking at next year. There's a California company that's actually already have a license to operate the cars, and they're looking to bring it commercially at the end of 2025. You only have to have 300,000 Americans, but you get the drift. Flying cars are coming in next year. And if that's not enough, in Dubai, they actually want to go the extra mile, where they want to have electric flying cars that's going from one big build, one horizon to another high-rise building, so people can skip all the traffic jam. And that's in 2026. So would that tell us, when you're looking at something like this, yes, technology is moving at a fast rate, but I want you to imagine the scenario where you're a manager in RCMP, for example, and on Monday morning, you receive a call from one of your team members, and that team member is asking, we have somebody who just did a heist or stole a bank or did something mischief, and they're actually using a flying car and it's going very fast. By the time the helicopter is going to be up in the air, they'll be long gone. The question is, how do we track them? How do we follow them? And most importantly, how do we catch them? Because you can't just shoot at them. They probably will go down at residents or other people. So it really brings a new highlight or new insight on how do you do your day-to-day business. And that doesn't only impact RCMP. What if you're in Transport Canada? What policies do you need for this type of transportation? Or what if you're a firefighter and this actually is going to catch fire mid-air? There are so many questions that we need to start thinking differently about how we operate them. and they're coming fast and furious. And as you can see, majority of us are thinking it's coming long term. All right, we're gonna go to the second question now. So please unlock your cell phone, be ready. I will be asking the second question. But while you're doing this, let's see who won the first round. In 6 seconds, MG, hail to MG for getting it right. 8 seconds, DC, Mark, 8 seconds, DS is 8 seconds, and M is 9 seconds. I wonder if Mark can actually get to top number 1 on the next one. So Mark, you've got a challenge to go. So by now you should have unlocked your phone or get ready with your Chrome. The fastest answer gets more points. We're moving on to the next question in 3, 2, 1. In 2023, Microsoft announced it is expecting to reach faster programming capability by a factor of 2, 10, 55, or 100 times. So Microsoft, thanks to AI, of course, to be able to program things faster. Well, what factor? 2, 10, 55, or 100? I'm just going to wait for you to answer a few more questions. I'll check the chat to see if anybody put anything in there. All right, in 2023, let's see what majority have answered. And majority has said it's actually going to be 100 times. Second best is 55, 10, and 2. All right, let's figure that out. 55 times, that's correct. During the Ignite November forum, Microsoft announced due to AI, they can program 55 times faster. In fact, they predict that in 5 years from now, 80% of the programming will be done by AI, bringing us to a much, much faster transition. If you think the world is going fast right now, if you think you've got a bit of digital literacy gap, you can imagine it's not going to get any better in the next 2 years or so on. So DC, you're number 1, MG, Sylvie, Bonnie, and GL. Mark, where are you? All right, let's take a bet on Bonnie. Bonnie, let's see if you can make it to number 1. And get ready for the next question. Unlock your phones, please. In 3, 2, 1. All right. I've been getting information that some of us can't hear me, so we're gonna put it in the typed message. Can you ask them to exit and come back? They're given the number of people on the call. It might be an issue with the audio. So using AI and quantum computer scientists can shrink 20 years or reach down to. So using AI and quantum computers, how fast can people do the research now? The 20 years research could be down to a few weeks, 1.52, 2.5, or 5 years. All right, let's see what you have answered. So majority of you have answered few weeks, and you are right. So let's actually go back over here. I have another things to show you. So discoveries in weeks, that's correct, not years. So combining AI and quantum computer, we were able to actually Microsoft was able to find new ways and new chemicals to do battery by analyzing 32 million different products. They were able to find new batteries that is more effective, that is safer, that requires less expensive chemicals and so on. They also announced that using that method, moving on, they'll be able to help other scientists in different areas to find new ways actually of doing business. Can you imagine at the speed and the rate at which this is going from 20 years to a few weeks? That's amazing. So a few weeks is the answer, and the winner for the 3 round is DC. Congratulations, DC. You are the winner. You got the most fastest answers in the right fastest answers, I guess. And G, you're second. GL, you're third. And Lace, you're fourth. Jen, you're number 5. Congratulations. All right, Bonnie, what happened? All right, so we're moving on back to our slide over here. And what can we learn from what we just saw? That's kind of interesting to kind of take a step back and look at what we can learn from this. First, the acceleration, not only there's a lot of change happening, but the impact of each acceleration is much bigger than it used to be. which brings a lot of complexity in how we're going to find solutions and deal with them. And it's also coming at a higher risk. So you have to balance between finding a solution and being able to meet the guidelines. This requires that you have to upskill yourself and work in new ways. But mostly, you need to be constantly aware and adopt and be able to adapt and be able to shift as well. So not only you have to be good with technology, but you have to be better at it at a faster rate. You have to find a solution in a much more way. And the way we're working right now, it's very difficult to be able to manage all that by yourself. So you need other ways to make that work. All right, so please share in the chat if you need support. Here's an example I want to give you, and kind of another way of thinking. Please share in the chat. If you need support to deliver an accessible presentation, where would you go? So if you need support right now to deliver an accessible presentation, let's say you're putting one out, where would you go for help? Where would you go to ask questions? Who can help you? So please let me know in the chat. AAAC, high five for that, David. So we've got Google. Yes, remember it's the government of Canada has higher restrictions than other places. You might find it a bit restrictive. There's help in VAC, accessibility group at VAC. Wonderful that you have that access. Not every department has one. Copilot, if you have access to Copilot, I'm a little bit envious, but yes. So accessibility team or tool in internal drive. So you can see ChatGPT. Brad, it's not a bad idea. Thinking outside the box. GCA change. Love that answer. Colleagues, absolutely. There's so many of you are mentioned. ESDC has an office for accessibility, bigger department. They do have stuff like this. Comms to a certain degree, or event management team. Me and my team. All right, Corina, I'm writing down your name over here for help. But what I wanted to demonstrate over here is just by thinking differently. And that's the important part of this. The one thing you want to take with you today is this: change your perception. It increases your chances of success. You're not just a manager working for the government by yourself in a unit. You're part of a group of 300 to 400,000 people. You're a manager for Government of Canada. You've got tons of resources available. Here's something I found out in a few minutes just by going on GC Tools and making a quick search. I found out there's a GC Workplace Accessibility Passport team. There's Office of the Public Service Accessibility, part of TBS. There's the Accessibility Learning Series in Canada School of Public Service. There's the AAC that was mentioned before, which is the Accessibility Accommodation Adaptive Computer Technology, part of Shared Services. What I'm trying to hint over here is that they might not have the service I'm looking for, but they are in that field and they can guide me to somebody that can support me or help me. The help is all around us. I just have to think more globally so I can better act locally. And that does work by changing my perception that I'm a Government of Canada manager and I have tons of resources available around me. I just have to reach out in order to get that support. And with that, I want to bring Shannon Lord, who's the Executive Director for Government of Canada, who's actually been doing amazing by always thinking globally, thinking outside, reaching out, supporting other people. You'll find that she's very active on LinkedIn as well. And I'm learning a lot from her. And that's one way for me to keep that wider vision and be able to see what's out there. Shannon, thank you so much for coming in. I'm looking forward to learn from you. What advice do you have for us as managers?
Hi, Roy. Thanks for that. Sorry, just took a second here to get this up and running.
You scared me for a while. I thought the mic is not working for you.
Yeah, it wasn't working earlier, but it's working now, so that's great. So I just wanted to say hi, folks. Thanks for having me. My name is Shannon Lord, and I'm the Executive Director of Digital Transformation and Architecture for Health Canada and the Public Health Agency. And today I wanted to shift our focus from the traditional view of networking to a broader perspective that emphasizes the power of learning from others. In our dynamic environment in the Government of Canada, the ability to absorb knowledge and insights from diverse sources is essential for our professional growth and success. And I just want you for a moment to imagine a vast library of expertise stretching across industries, departments, agencies, disciplines, and experiences. And, this library isn't confined to just dusty books or online databases. It's alive and thriving within our networks. We have platforms like professional forums, GC Exchange, LinkedIn, collaborative projects, all of these things to serve as portals to the wealth of knowledge waiting to be explored and tapped into. So I wanted to share with you a personal example that illustrates the transformative impact of learning from others. Back in 2020, I started a new role where I was responsible for establishing the Power Platform Center of Excellence in my department. And at the time, I didn't know much about Microsoft's new Power Platform solution or how others in the GC were leveraging it. And I had a ton of questions. So, you know, I was asking myself, well, where are these other departments using all of the components in the platform? Did they have a center of excellence? You know, how were their teams structured? You know, how are they managing implementation and so on? And this is where I leveraged others' knowledge and expertise. So I invited a handful of people from different departments to come together to share their insights, experiences, and lessons learned. And lo and behold, many others I found were in the exact same circumstance. And so as a result, the Interconnect Power Platform monthly forum was formed. And to date, we continue to come together to discuss and collaborate on all things Power Platform. You know, we collaborate, we innovate, we exchange knowledge, tools, templates, best practices, lessons learned, and so on. And right now, I think we have over 60 departments and almost 400 members participating in the forum. Ultimately, by learning through others, I was able to fulfill my objective back in 2020, where I successfully established the Power Platform Center of Excellence. But you know, learning from others isn't just about seeking answers to specific problems. It's also about embracing a mindset of curiosity and continuous improvement. You know, by actively listening to diverse viewpoints, seeking out mentorship opportunities, including reverse mentorship, and engaging in knowledge sharing initiatives, we're able to expand our horizons and deepen our understanding of complex issues. So I encourage each of you to adopt a learner's mindset and to embrace the wealth of knowledge that surrounds us, whether it's through connecting with GC colleagues, participating in cross-functional forums or projects, respectfully participating in LinkedIn, or attending virtual workshops and seminars. Seize every opportunity to glean insights and perspectives from others. And in doing so, together, we'll be able to harness the collective wisdom of our network to drive innovation, foster collaboration, adapt to change, and to also advance our own personal careers within the Government of Canada. And that's, again, all through the power of leveraging diverse perspectives and insights. So I'll end with, here's to the transformative power of learning from one another. I encourage each and every one of you to reach out.
That's a powerful message. Thank you so much, Shannon. And people are asking for the Power Platform community. So what I'm going to do is, can I ask you to send me the information? I'll put it in the thank you email we're sending right after this session. All right.
Excellent. Thanks for having me.
We've got lots of stuff for you and great different resources to share. So I'm going to keep going and tell you what has been working for me throughout this year. What I've found that guide me to be more effective at my work and working in the digital world is truly to redefine who I am as a manager, redefine my mission. I'm not just a manager delivering on widgets, on policies or something else, no matter what job I'm taking. I took on, and I would love to know what your feedback is. That is a mission that I have written to myself that has guided me. And if I would like you, if you like what you see, and make that your guiding platform that helps you in who you are in your career as a manager. So I'm looking at build and lead a flexible and adaptable team, able to deliver effectively and ready to take on emerging challenges in a moment's notice. There's a lot in this message that I'm writing. As you can see, you really have to break it down. So let me know in the chat what you think about it. So for myself, is really build and lead. That's the section by itself. So I had to rethink about, how do I build a team? How do I lead a team effectively? How do I upgrade myself? How do I make them more flexible and adaptable team? That's around the culture piece that I have to kind of think about, and how to deliver effectively. That's around, you know, the digital upskilling that had to be done within the team and to myself. And to look at emerging challenges, that's another difficult one, but we just saw from Shannon right now how we can keep a tab on this, where probably just 15 minutes on LinkedIn is what I usually do, just to quickly see who's doing what and what's out there. That kind of helps me. 15 minutes a day. It's not a lot of investment, but knowing who the subject matter experts would allow me to go deep dive just in time when that is needed. And be available on moment's notice. Well, that's another strategy that I had to do. So let's take a bit of deep dive into each one of these sections. So first of all, if you're not aware, what is the impact? So the research was done about the impact on the workplace. Yes, it's going to be more automated and all the stuff. But the real question is, what is the impact on people, on your role as an employee, as a manager, as an executive? So they have found out that as things get more automated and AI is doing more of the administrative workload and other workload, employees will have to upskill themselves, similar to how we had to do when computers and emails came to the workforce. People had to be a little bit better at communication, better at doing PowerPoint, better doing something else. And right now, what they're finding out is that employees need to be better at critical thinking. So put it on your to-do list is, as you're building your team, you need to empower them with critical thinking. As a manager, you need to set and guide the strategy. So you need to be more strategic in how you're approaching things. I'm going to look at things that you can do as a manager to be more strategic. And as the executive, they have found out that they have the hardest workload because the number one that helps any company in the competition is to have the right culture. So the executive will have to set the vision and the culture at the same time. Right, so let's take a bit more dive into what you can do to build and lead a team. First, here's something I was able to do to become more strategic. Going from operation into a strategic role, it takes a bit of adaptation, and it doesn't happen overnight. It does take a bit of time. So I found that having this 5-question template has helped me a lot. And after I write a report, after I write an email, after I write something that I want to share with other people, is to put it on the side, go for a walk, and come back and read these 5 questions. Am I supporting the overall department's strategic goals? Have I fully assessed all the stakeholders' impact? And that's a good one because you need to start thinking about who are the stakeholders. Have I thought about all the stakeholders and their impact on them? Are there other risks that I need to consider and hedge for? And that's a big one because you don't know all the risk, but speaking to stakeholders and other people, that kind of helped me to put a pause and say, maybe I need to speak to X, Y, and Z just to kind of make sure I cover this. So my strategy, my approach is stronger. How am I driving innovation and upskilling my team through the process? So I found doing that question helps me a lot to find ways to give certain roles to certain people on my team to help them in upskilling. And how is success measured? Sounds like an easiest question, but it's the hardest one. Okay, so the next one is communication. I can't emphasize the importance of communication in a post-pandemic world. Storytelling, infographic, cutting videos under 30 seconds are the favorites. So you gotta start finding a different way to communicating, but also how you write goes a long way. Here's a couple of courses that I would recommend, and I'm sure some of you have seen. Start with a Why from Simon Sinek from TEDx. It's a great short video, 18 minutes you can look at. Mastering Communication as a Leader, there's a LinkedIn Learning, and there's some courses in the Canada School of Public. But I also have found now I'm more driven by generative AI that where I can just kind of copy paste and ask it to kind of for unclassified information to help me be more strategic with my messages. And as doing this, I ask it to explain to me what it changed and why, so I can learn from it. Don't just use generative AI to publish stuff, but it's a great tool to be your coach and to learn from. The next one is change management. And I wish I learned that in the beginning of my career, especially the ATCAR model. If you don't know it, there's a 6 videos, short videos you can actually follow. I have a link for you, or you can take the course. There's also a great course from the Canada School of Public Service to lead in an unpredictable world. This is where we're going. I predict we have about 2 years, 24 months. If you equip yourself today and your team, you do a learning path for 2 years. Every month you include one behavioral that you want to improve on, such as change management, improve communication. And another one is technical. So you learn Microsoft Forms, you learn Whiteboard, you learn something else. And if you do that for 24 months, you find yourself prepared and ahead of most other managers in the government. Moving on to risk management, one thing I've did a grid is low risk, medium risk, high risk. And for each one, I know exactly what needs to be done. If it's a low risk, I just have a backup plan that I write somewhere. Medium risk, I'll talk to people to get some information on what can I do. But high risk, my team knows it's all hands on deck and we need to tackle the problem right away. And that helps us to be able to adjust the amount of resources needed based on what we need. And if you need a course, there is one from the Canada School of Public Service, that's a great one. Emotional intelligence in a world of a digital where everything is going faster and faster, it's so easy to forget the human touch. And that's where AI comes so handy. And I strongly recommend refresh yourself if you're good at it. If you're not good at it, don't worry about it. You can learn it. It really is putting yourself in somebody else's shoes and constantly reminding yourself, especially when you're stressed out. So taking courses like this, it kind of forces you to help you to get back into it. And the hard one, the next one we're looking at is the hard one. So how to develop a flexible and adaptable team. So first, you need to hire for the future skills. You need people that are adaptable. You need people that can maneuver more digital skills or whatever you're looking for. You need to hire for the future, and you're not alone in doing this. There's tons of help from HR staffing and other places. And I'm going to call in right now OCIO, who's going to kind of look at what the OCIO has done with a talent plan to help you to look for those skills of the future. If I can call in right now, Isa, to come in, and then we'll come back to the upskill internally.
Thanks, Roy. Thanks for the invitation. So my name is Isa. I am manager of the within the Digital Community Management Office at TBS. In addition to supporting the community of digital practitioners in the GC, one of our mandates is to support the Government of Canada in attracting, developing, and retaining the digital talent we need to deliver our services under the GC Digital Talent Strategy, which you can Google and you can find on canada.ca. In terms of helping you attract the talent that you need to help ensure you have the right talent, the right skills at the right time, do you know about talent, excuse me, talent.canada.ca? So it is a recruitment platform for centralized competency-based hiring campaigns for in-demand fields like IT, but also data science, information management, service design, and digital leadership. So through this platform, we help drastically reduce the time to hire and can help remove some talent barriers that you may be facing right now. So it's not necessarily a platform that meets everybody's needs of all of you that are here today, but you can create an account on the platform today, and you can actually, as a manager, search for specific skills from our assessed candidate pools. And you can also even apply to certain leadership processes that are on the platform from time to time. So I invite you to put this in your toolbox and to check out the platform. You have a QR code that can take you right there. And please don't hesitate to contact me if you want more information either about the platform or about the wide range of services available to you and your digital teams with respect to talent.
Thank you so much, Isa. This is great to know that the OCIO is there to support us in looking for new talent for the new skills that we need. So what about upskilling your team? And if you look at upskilling your team, there's tons of support from learning development in your own department, from communities out there that are doing different training opportunities, from Power Platform, as we saw, to Power BI, to so many different stuff. But also, the Canada School of Public Service, if you wasn't aware, they have a digital academy that has some interesting stuff that I invite them today to share them with you. And what I'm demonstrating today is that there's so much out there. Just by thinking that you're a manager in the government, you've got a great amount of resources that meets the current today's budget need of $0, and you'll be able to get so much done. So with that, I would like to invite Erica to come in and share with us some of the stuff that the Digital Academy has for us. For those who don't know Erica, she's the Director General of the Digital Academy. Thank you so much for coming, Erica.
Absolutely, Roy. It's such a pleasure. Can you hear me? Just sound check?
We can hear you. Yes, it's loud and clear.
Wonderful.
I'm excited to learn what you have for us.
Thank you, and thanks everyone for joining us today. So I'll tell you a little bit about the Digital Academy, and then I'll move into 3 takeaways that you can start doing today or tomorrow. So first of all, the Digital Academy, we are one of the many business lines at the Canada School of Public Service. You might not be super familiar with the learning we have to offer because we are one of the newer business lines and we've really started only getting content into the catalog in the last few years. But we now have about 75 different courses that are available to you, as well as about 45 different microlearning products, as well as almost 20 learning events a year, and. So I really do want to make sure, if there's one thing you take away from my part of the presentation today, is that the Digital Academy exists. It is free learning available to all public servants, and our target audience for this learning is really the every public servant. This is not learning that is meant for IT professionals or data practitioners, those with deep technical skills already. Rather, this is meant to be demystification training for the rest of us. So I come from a long operations background, and this is the type of learning designed for me, for you, for your teams, to make sure that we can all understand the words of the digital era and start to actually think about how technology and how different ways of working can influence our work, and actually to make us feel more confident to engage in those conversations with other service providers in our organizations that might help us drive towards new solutions. So I won't speak more to this slide except to just say that little, oh, sorry, Roy, I set you up incorrectly there. The little circle on the left there shows multitudes of different formats that we offer as well. So we are trying to design learning that meets every different type of learning need. And the one that might not be as obvious to you there is the Digital Accelerator Program. This is a really intensive applied learning program where teams come in and actually have coaches to help them work through problems through applied learning. So that's a really different model we're pleased to bring. Now you can move, Roy, to the next slide. So like I said, I want to leave you with 3 takeaways today. So the first takeaway, take a course. Whether this is for you or for anyone in your team, I do really encourage you to start your learning. There is a lot of learning available, like I said. This slide here presents you with our most popular courses. So this is not all of them. It's just the ones that we see the biggest uptake on. And Roy is very helpfully hovering over one in the middle there called Discover Artificial Intelligence. And there's one that is 2 down from that called Using Generative AI in the Government of Canada. I know you've been speaking a lot about AI today, and these are real like demystifiers on what it is, how it can affect you in your work, and what you should be thinking about if you are in a position where you're starting to integrate use of generative AI, for example, into your workplace. Again, these are all demystifier primer level courses, so appropriate for any type of work situation to help you understand how these items impact you. Next thing I will mention, Roy, if you can move forward. So first of all, was take a course. Secondly, make learning a routine. So we understand that learning, it's really hard to make the time for learning, to make the space for learning, especially when the courses are typically, 60 plus minutes. It's a lot of time to put aside in your day. So we have also created this new format offered through the school called articles, microlearning articles. They are 5 minutes or less to read. They are treating new technologies or technologies that are impacting us in the workplace. And again, they're meant as demystifiers. So something like, maybe a few years ago, you remember about Bitcoin or about blockchain or what's an NFT. These are things that we might all think, well, do I need to know? Do I need to care what an NFT is? Go read the microlearning. It takes you 5 minutes and you'll know at the end whether you need to care. So the important part here is that they're all contextualized within Government of Canada context. Versus going to Google to do just a quick search on what some of these technologies are, that's absolutely fine, but it doesn't maybe answer the question for your context. Our microlearning tries to do that while also driving you towards more learning if you need it. And then on the right of this slide, the other thing I'll just please really ask you to do is sign up for our newsletter. It really is the best way to learn about the new learning products, whatever they are, courses, events, microlearning, anything coming out of the Digital Academy. Through that newsletter, you'll find out about it. And it's a really simple and quick way to get that into your inbox. Lastly, on this slide, Roy, the other thing I really like to encourage folks to do, especially at the management level, is part of making learning a routine is setting up the space for your teams to make it a routine as well. So I really encourage you to set up, every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks, set up a little learning block in the calendars of your team. Tell them to go read the newest microlearning article. They come out every 2 weeks. They go read the newest one, and then you can set up a discussion chat with your team to share what you've learned and whether it is something that can apply to your business. And then lastly, the thing I'll suggest that you do is to visit our GC Exchange site. If we just go to the next slide. Thank you. So we have a site on GC Exchange. It does provide a whole lot of information on the Digital Academy generally, but there's also a section called the Digital Learning Promotion Toolkit. And the express purpose of this toolkit is to set leaders like yourselves up to have productive conversations in your team. So it gives you some real demystifiers, you know, some information, some downloadable decks that you can use to start to have these conversations in your team. It gives you discussion question guides that you can bring into your team. So it's really trying to help you get that kickstart as a leader in your team to start having these conversations and ensure that your employees know that this is about being the workforce of now. It's not even so much about the workforce of the future, because all of these new bells and whistles are already integrated into our work, and we need to catch up. So, you know, really encourage you to take those 3 actions, and please don't hesitate to reach out and do please become part of our community. Thanks very much.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I love the idea of set time for you and your team. That's a great way for growth mindset. It's something I'm going to look at shortly. But you know, when you're looking at the next section is deliver effectively, there's 2 components to this. Is a behavioral competency that's required and the technical competency. So I talked before about 24-month plan for your team. Each month have 1 item for behavioral and 1 item for technical. And what I wanted to do also with all the speakers to show you how easy it is to find content resources that's out there. You just have to put it together for something that's meaningful to your team. So the ones that you're going to look at is design thinking, enable accessibility and inclusion, agile, automating processes, and I can't emphasize that enough, and data. And data is a big thing. I know you've heard it many times, but for me, data is not enough. It's most like instant data that's visualized that I look for. And I want to give you an exercise to see what instant data visualization means. You know, even if you don't have the tool, I'm going to use a basic tool, which is Outlook and Excel right now. I'm not even using Power BI, automation, or something else, just to show you how easy it is to kind of use data. As long as you think about it ahead of time, you can get the outcome that you're looking for. With that, I'm going to ask you all to participate in the exercise and send me an email with one of the following titles. I'm going to put it also in the chat. Subject line, one of the following subject line. So just in the subject line, don't put something else, just click on the link I'm going to put in, or just type my name and choose banana, orange, or kiwi that you'll be putting in the subject line. And I need to type properly, make sure that my email is written properly. And in 3, 2, 1, please look in the chat. You'll find my email, click on the email that I just sent you. And what I want from here is you just send me banana, orange, kiwi in the subject, and you can send me as many emails with different options that you have just for the exercise to show you, although we're hundreds of people right now, how we can instantly get that information that we're looking for in basic tools. Because I know the government, you know, we have so many guidelines, procedures, and restrictions, but if there's a will, there is a way. And that's what I want to demonstrate right now. So go in, please send me an email or a few emails if you like. Perfect. So I'm going to get my Outlook just to show you quickly. Just doing rules, simple thing. Just by doing a rule, a folder, I'm able to get all that information into one folder. So right there from the unread, I can see there's 241 responses that have been received so far, and there's more and more coming in as we're speaking. You know, keep sending them in, please. I just want to show you how fast they can come in. If those were part of my emails and I have to count one by one, yeah, chances are this is not going to happen. I'm not going to be able to get all that juicy data. So I'm waiting for it to be 300. All right, we hit the jackpot. Now, check this out. You're going to like it. And don't worry if you don't follow the step. 90% of the challenge with Microsoft 365 is knowing that something exists. So I just want you to know that this exists, not about how you can do it. And it's about the methodology of changing the perception. So, all right, I'm going to go to File on the top over here, where you can see File in Outlook. And what I'm going to do is export all these emails so I can use that data, proving that everything is a data, including emails. So I'm going to click on File, and in File, I'm going to click on Open and Export. Open and Export. In here, we're going to click on Import, Export. Once we're here, we're going to export to a file. Moving on to comma separated value or CSV files, choosing the file folder where I put everything in, and then download it to download CSV. Okay, boom. This is where I want to put it, and I'm done. All right, so we're done with the email. Now we're going to open the file that we just downloaded. Waiting for it to open. Perfect. Let me bring this over. So here's what I just received from the folder in a few seconds. I didn't have to manually do this. I've got right now, we can see from the bottom 335 answers received, the subject line that people have sent in, the emails where it came from, and other information. I'm going to copy all this information I just received, and some of you want to see it as a table. So let me make that as a table so it's easier to see. So you can see there's 335 answers received right now. And as I mentioned, you have to pre-prepare things that makes it easier. So I'm just going to copy paste it here. And boom, we just pasted all the information. Since it's stable, it carried all the extra formulas that we have. And now we go to our dashboard just after we refresh. Going to our dashboard, we have received 335 answers. There is unique senders. There's something wrong with that formula, so I'll have to look at it one more time. Oh, I see. This is actually 12 different answers received. So looking over here, you can see the different answers that people have sent us. And on the right, you can see the different, right away, I was able to grab that information and figure where people are coming from, forces, election, let's take CRA, for example, over here. We can see there's like 30-some people right away in a few seconds. We're able to see majority of CRA, they prefer Kiwi. I only use Outlook and Excel. Imagine the possibilities when you use something like Microsoft 365, and there are 23 different applications that some of us have access to. Others might be blocked, some of them might block, but you can use Power BI, you can use so many different other tools from Power Automate, so you can automate the whole process. If you use Power Automate, you can make a Power App, so you can interact with it and make other stuff. There are a world of possibilities you already have access to without having need to get even more information. And just to show you that if that is not enough for you to convince you of the possibilities of what could be done, I'm going to go to Bing.com right now and show you that the tools that you have, I prefer to know the tools that I have inside out than getting more tools because I can find myself much more efficient. For example, I'm in Bing.com. I built something called the Digital Edge Community. Just searching on Bing.com, one of the options that I can do, it gives me any information about all around the world about Digital Edge. However, if you see over here, there's something called work. Because we're using at work something called Edge for Business, it's linked to our account in the back end. And when I click on Work tab, suddenly I'm in all Microsoft 365 tenant where I'm working, and it will search OneDrive, it will search Power Apps, it will search SharePoint, Teams, and everything on the cloud that is stored, give me all that information in one searchable, easy place. That's something new, actually, I didn't know about. Another one that I want to share with you is in Microsoft Edge. That's another cool feature I've been using for years. When you're doing your research, there's something called collection. It's just hitting on the top over here where you see collections. If you click on collection, you can add sites that you haven't seen before, like this one over here. I can just add it to a different type of collection. Think of collection as a folder. And if you open that folder, you can put all the links. So all the research that I've done for this session, you can see all the links over here. So it takes time to share that with you. Look at this magical 2 clicks. Clicking on the 3 dots right on the top here. And I can send to Excel, which will take all the content and put it in a nice table. Or another option is send to Word document. So as it's actually doing this, it will give you a nice, normally it does, but today is Murphy's Law, of course. But another one is send to Word. Let's see if that works. There's something in the back end right now. So it took a Word document, it put everything in here with the links and all the stuff, and kaboom, I can share that with you. So I can do my search over a period of time, and I can summarize it so easy. I just show you 3 things in the tools that you've been using every single day that it can improve your productivity. And there's so much more that you can do, but we don't have time for this. So let's go back to talk about technical competency. Really look at a chart. basic knowledge, intermediate knowledge, advanced knowledge of the things you have and focus on those for 2 years. It's going to take you a long time. Just add things like Canva and generative AI. It's going to make you excessively more productive. Another thing you want to look at, deliver effectively, is if you're thinking about reimagining how you can work more effectively with the stuff I've showed you, there's a hidden resource in most departments called IT Client Relation Managers, CRMs, BRMs. Find them. They can help you with new solutions you're looking for, tell you what programs are available. It's a hidden gem. Innovation hubs that you have, learning development, there are tons of resources out there. You're not on your own. Also hedge for emerging challenges like continuous learning to increase resiliency. We heard about block booking your Teams meeting from Erica. I personally like to add a 5-minute in every team meeting to learn one new tip. We call it tip of the day. Develop a 2-year learning path for your team. I can't emphasize the importance of this to make them ready. And the one that I like is called Future Ops Challenge. Every quarter, one of the things you can do is come up with a crazy scenario like, we have a cyber attack, all the computers are down, we can't access a network. How can we do business? What do we do? Or we got a bunch, or our team got moved to a different department, we lost 30%. How do we maintain the business if we can? Come up with scenarios that force your team to have the critical thinking and be ready in a moment's notice to to hedge for things that might happen. Another one that I want to share is learn to ask the right question. When things are moving to AI and it can spit up whatever you want, the most important thing you can learn is asking the right question so the AI or something else can give you the answer. When things are moving fast and you have to make a decision faster, having that critical thinking to ask the right question is huge. And I've got 2 different videos you can look at that can help you actually in that aspect as well. And there's a training also available on how to ask questions. And finally, building your network. That is such a crucial thing to build your network. And there's tons of resources from GC Exchange, GC Tools, LinkedIn, Facebook, you name it. But the importance of it is that anytime something happened, you've got resources to tap into and people to collaborate. And then you might be in a pickle trying to figure a solution, but somebody might have already done it and they'll just hand it to you. You'll be amazed how public servants are here to serve and they each help each other. So to give you a bit more information about networking, I've asked Amanda Bernardo, that is well known in this field, that is out there always sharing her thoughts, her leadership, and she's done a marvelous job with everybody in sharing that knowledge and connecting people. And the work she does behind the scene and connecting people is just amazing. So I asked Amanda to come in, who's the Director of Change Management and Service Design, to share with us some of her thoughts about networking. Amanda, thanks so much for coming today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me and for the warm introduction. I always love these sessions because I myself always learn something new from Roy. So I think all of us were fascinated with the clicks and tips we learned today. As Roy mentioned, I am currently the Director of Change Management and Service Design with Shared Services Canada. And I think a really important thing that we try to emphasize in our team as well is that it's not just about the technical capacities that you need to learn as you navigate this digital world. It's also about things like taking a human-centered approach with methodologies like change management and service design so that you are, working with those digital standards and designings with users in mind. For me personally, working in the public service, networking has been huge. It's been a great opportunity for me to be able to collaborate across coast to coast to coast and in ways that are just simply not possible when you kind of segregate yourself to the immediate teams that you work with. So, networking in a digital really empowers leaders by helping to facilitate those connections, by fostering collaboration, by really providing access to diverse perspective and innovative ideas. As Roy mentioned, if you don't have the answer to something, there's a chance one of your colleagues probably do. If you're launching a new software and application in your organization, there's likely a chance that maybe another organization has already done this. So rather than kind of reinventing the wheel, you can take those lessons learned to adopt it to your change so that the experience is better for your team or your employees or whatever the case may be. And then likewise, if you're facing resistance, you're probably not the first person to do this. And let me tell you, working in the digital digital space and working in transformation, I think one of the challenges is that it does sometimes feel like a little bit of an uphill battle. And so if you can take those lessons learned from a colleague or for someone somewhere else, even outside of the public service, to be able to improve whatever you're working on, definitely take advantage, and networking can help facilitate that connection. Really, the point is, regardless of what you're kind of working on, there's a vast array of knowledge and support that exists outside of your immediate circle, and it would be truly a shame to let it go to waste. So whether you plan an informal coffee or you make a connection on social media, sometimes I'm the blind cold call. I'll randomly just message somebody on Teams, or even ask a colleague that may have a better connection than I do. Like, hey, Roy, I think Roy and I do this all the time. Do you know someone who does this? There's so much opportunity there, and it really allows us to connect beyond our office space, to really learn from each other, to collaborate with one another, and to really improve the way that we deliver services and innovation across the public service. So if you're ever looking for support on how to network effectively, my door is always open. Whether you want to cold call me on MS Teams if your organization allows for it, or feel free to find me on LinkedIn. There are so many great public servants that are doing incredible work, and you shouldn't let that go to waste. So thank you for having me, and thanks, Roy, again, for teaching us something new today.
I'm always learning from you as well. So I just put Amanda's LinkedIn. I will give you other people's LinkedIn as well, all the speakers, if you want to connect with them, talk to each other. Again, I can't emphasize the message that you are not alone. We're here helping each other as a team of 300, 400,000 employees. Together, we can create a better world for Canada, at least. And I'm going to move on to the question right now, given we're at the end. So if I can ask John to come in and ask, let me know if there are any questions. And as he's coming in, one of the questions that I've asked most of the time is how are you able to keep up? Like how, we talk about learning, we talk about upgrading, we talk about all the stuff, and all the technology is moving. Well, the secret is in being effective, productive, and consistent. And I'll give you an example. To know what's going on and who's out there and all the stuff, it's a 15-minute a day investment I'll do on LinkedIn. That helps me quickly just to absorb, and I only follow the people that helps. So I'll be able to see who's doing what and what's going on. That gives me my intake information that I need. To keep up my learning, I made sure my Outlook calendar, I have a yellow category that helps me see if I've been learning enough on a monthly basis. And I try to get about 2 hours a month just to squeeze in to learn something new. And the best way to do it is always ask a question. Don't be afraid if you don't know something. Many of us don't. Somebody who show you a ongoing 5 minutes training in different meetings worth more than a full day training that you only get 30% retention in it. And in your meeting, ask somebody to rotate and have a 5-minute presentation on different topics. And we heard also from Erica, book it 2 hours to come together as a team to learn from each other. So you purposely be able to have nudges throughout your working day and fit it in your working day to keep getting that information that you need. I'll turn to John right now to see if you have any questions.
I don't know if this, one of the questions was just in terms of if we were aware of the possible when Microsoft 360 would be rolled across all government agencies. I'm not sure if that's something you might be aware of.
So that is, there's no answer to this. It really depends on your department and where they are and what their plan is. One of the things that I've found that has been useful, if there are certain applications in Microsoft 365 that you need, talk to your BRM and CRM to write a use case so they can be the voice on your behalf to move it forward. If you're trying to do this by yourself, you're going to find it is really going upstream. You need to find allies, and with allies, you'll be able to move things. It might take a few months, but it is possible to start nudging and moving things around. Just always remember, you're not alone. Just find your allies as you're moving things.
Yeah, one of the other questions, from your experience, what do you think the most effective technique is to assist in keeping employees motivated and working in a digital atmosphere?
That's a great question. You know what has worked for me the most is really change my leadership style to an inspiring leadership style. or approach. And one of the ways I was able to do this for an employee who was jaded, who was junior support at the time, AS2, and pandemic just hit and they thought they're going to lose their job, is to actually change their title. By changing their title, it changes their identity, and they're able to figure where they are. So going from a junior coordinator into a, I started asking her what that person is interested in, what inspires her, what she likes. And as we figured out, she likes to build community, she likes to get people connected, she likes to help. So we changed the title to something meaningful within the round, and it's called Digital Community Builder. So we went from junior coordinator to digital community builder. That helped the person understand that they needed to learn social media, they needed to learn communication, more on Outlook. And then right away, they started actually to guide their career and their training in towards that direction that actually we came together and supported them to do it. So giving them the long-term vision of where they can be, a title is usually an informal title, I should say, will go a long way as well.
Okay. Just in terms of our workload dilemma, one of the significant hurdles in addressing these challenges is increased workload associated with learning the tools, right? New tools roll out, we have to learn that.
Yes.
We find we're swamped with day-to-day tasks and how that impacts us in terms of learning a new tool, plus with combination of BFs sitting in front of us. How would you suggest to avoid constant pressures to adopting the new tools and balancing your workload? How do you?
I strongly believe, John, that less is more. I can show you what we can do with Excel and Outlook without even getting more tools. But
Yeah,
the priority right now for any manager, if I have to say, is automate, automate, automate. You can't take on something new and start learning something new when you're so down packed with regular day-to-day business. And if that is the case, you need to start going with your team. And as a team tackle this, it's the great team bonding and team upskilling is looking at, you know what, here's our reality, and we need to start finding ways to have extra capacity. And that means, what can we automate? Or as somebody says, what can we stop? What can we put on hold, and what can we cancel? Like, what is the stuff that we used to do we don't need to? What can we automate stuff so that person can be freed up? I always have a rule that if I have a junior coordinator, their job is not to send email. We need to think about how we automate things like I just showed you with Outlook, so they can do more strategic workload supporting the team. I can be free up to do more cultural work.
yeah.
So you really have to think about the bottom person, base person on your team. John, I think this is the last question we were able to take. It's really been a pleasure. I just want to thank everybody for this amazing session, the opportunity to learn from each other.
Yeah, and I'd like to thank you, Roy, and all the folks who joined you today to provide us with this session. It's been very informative. Lots of comments in the chat and thank yous for making time out of your day to join us and share this information. So thank you very much. A lot learned by everyone. This has been amazing.
Have a lovely day, everyone.
Yeah, you too.